we as a human race are extremely bad, I would say,
Right.
estimating the speed at which things happen.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I would just say that like we are extremely bad at understanding the exponential process.
Right.
Okay? Like, so anything that's exponential, and then we have
do
a
not
hard time grasping it. It's like, like, for example, like I would say in the more recently, right, with the pandemic, right? I mean, it's an exponential process, right? People just don't think, it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna be a big deal, right? But when it comes, it's a tidal wave that just, if you don't prepare for it, it's a bit too late.
Exactly.
Right? So yeah. So I think similarly, I think these type of artificial general intelligence, it builds on previous kind of technology, right? So it has this cumulative compounding effect, right? So yeah, so essentially these intelligent can actually, evolve in an exponential rate, right? So since we are very bad at estimating how fast that these rates actually evolve, right? I mean, yeah, so it's sooner than we know it. Yeah.
So that's great answering that, because I was about to ask you, would it gonna be like 50 years, 100 years, and some people are really scared about it because they think that, AGI is gonna kill all the humans, and I don't believe that it's gonna happen, because the last switch is always going to be in the hands of the biological intelligent creature, which is us. But let me ask you then, what is your opinion on the fact that I've heard it in some of the podcasts and from some scientists as well, is that this is going to be our last invention, because AGI is going to be so strong that, you do not have to then, as humans, invent anything. What do you think about it?
Well, I don't think so. I think that, I mean, you could say that, so let me just get back to this notion of kind of what does it mean to have an exponential kind of rate of intelligence, right? I mean, it really comes from the fact that when you have something where the rate of change is kind of proportional to that thing, right? So whenever you could write down a differential equation, where the rate of change is proportional to the amount, right? The solution of the exponential equation is a general exponential. Okay. So when something is actually, when the rate of something is, for example, like compound interest, right? The rate is actually, proportional to the amount they actually, then you actually grow exponentially, right? So compound interest, same thing as, viral spread, right? And lots of other, I would say, natural processes are somewhat of exponential because of that, right? So it's building on existing accumulative on the previous, So I think, like, you, in that respect, you could say that, a human is certainly exponentially more, intelligent than an ant, right?
Yes, that's right.
Like, so, but hey, like we I mean, precisely because we are very often built upon our new inventions, are built upon the previous inventions, right? So this again, this cumulative compounding effect, right? And yet we as human, we still constantly need to invent and innovate, to solve the problem around us. So I think that, just because you have AGI that's exponentially smarter than us, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the last invention. Like, I think there's still going to be lots of invention, that because I guess that the real challenge is that, like, the world and the environment that we live in is constantly evolving, right? And that's something that, when you have such a evolving environment, right, it could disrupt. It doesn't really matter how intelligent you are. Your intelligence can be completely irrelevant.
True.
It could be made completely irrelevant with this complete change of the environment, right? So
that's a really awesome point. Can you build on that? I mean, what do you mean by the changing environment, and how does that impact intelligence, and what does it mean?
I mean, you could train. I mean, a lot of people today would say that, okay, I use a deep learning algorithm, the most sophisticated, deep learning algorithm to build a model, right? And if that model may be very, very smart, and if it's actually not able to kind of have this feedback and learning from the feedback, then basically it's not able to adapt to new kind of situations, right? And these type of algorithm is actually still the model is somewhat static, even though the model has a lot of parameters, it's able to handle a lot of things, but if the world completely changes, right? Basically, it won't be able to adapt because it's not trained under this new environment, right? But I think a best example to illustrate the power of this adaptive system is I would say Darwin's famous quote. I mean, a lot of people say that Darwin says, survival of the fittest. In fact, he didn't. He
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
say
exactly.
that.
That's a myth.
He actually say that it's not the strongest species that survive.
Right.
It's not even the most intelligent species that survive.
Right.
It's actually the most adaptable
Right.
that actually survive.
Yeah.
Right. So so this ability to adapt to the changing environment is actually what allow you to kind of essentially survive and evolve through, right? Because
Right.
through these changes in the environment, because the environment is constantly changing, right? I mean, you could be super smart or super strong, right? But if the environment completely changes,
it doesn't
it
matter.
could render your strength or intelligence completely irrelevant.